Are you confused about if you should follow the IC diet? Does diet modification really make a difference? And the answer is yes, absolutely. If you've got Hunner's lesions, which are big bloody wounds in your bladder, or you have a very irritated bladder wall from a chemocystitis, a chemical irritation, or if you have estrogen atrophy, or if you have muscles so tight they're squeezing blood supply, even that can make your bladder wall more sensitive. And so diet modification is an absolute foundation of success. Millions of patients, and I'm not lying, millions of patients have reported flares after eating certain foods. And we have the research to back it up. And so one of the things that you can do right now to try to control your symptoms is to eliminate those foods which we know badly irritate the bladder. We want to get you sleeping through the night. And I'm just going to say right now that many patients who call me and I say, are you following the diet? They go, yeah, but they're up all night peeing, and it's eventually after 15 minutes, they go, yeah, no, they're not following the diet. Diet's really important here. We've got to create an environment that will help your bladder heal. We don't want to keep provoking it over and over with acid and alcohol. So the first drink you should avoid is coffee. It doesn't matter if it's decaf or regular. You've got to let the coffee go. If you had a wound on your hand, would you pour coffee on it every day? And the answer, of course, is no. Well, what do you think would happen to that wound if you did pour coffee on it every day? Would it get smaller or bigger? Well, it would get bigger, it would get redder, and you would be in a world of pain. It's not that you're never going to be able to drink coffee again. You will, but right now, for at least for the next 3 to 6 months, we got to give the bladder some time to calm down and heal. And even 1 cup of coffee a day is going to prevent your bladder from healing. The second thing we're going to look for is tea. And believe it or not, some of the teas are even worse than coffee, especially green tea, which is very, very acidic. And so you've got to let the tea go, whether it's sweet tea, green tea, black tea, etc. But you can have an herbal tea, like a chamomile herbal tea, or a peppermint herbal tea, or even a rooibos tea. The nice thing about chamomile and peppermint is that they're smooth muscle relaxants, and they help to calm the bladder down. So if you're flaring, one of the best things you can do is just make yourself a strong cup of mint or chamomile herbal tea. Of course, we want to look at soda. Doesn't matter if it's regular or diet or energy drinks or even vitamin waters. You know, the challenge with sodas in general is that they often use citric acid for flavoring, and they are very, very irritating. The only soda that you might be able to get away with once in a blue moon might be an old-fashioned root beer, which is naturally caffeine-free and low acid, or you can actually make yourself maybe a very mild Italian soda. And of course, no energy drinks. Don't do it. Single worst drink you could possibly drink when you've got a tender bladder is any energy drinks. Of course, cranberry juice is the go-to. How many of us have been told to drink cranberry juice? I mean, I should have had stock in the cranberry companies. I drank so much cranberry juice, not having a clue that it was actually damaging my bladder even worse. We want to stay away from things that are very, very high in acid, whether it's orange juice, lemonade, limeade, grapefruit juice, and cranberry juice. If you need to do a juice and you want to do a juice, go for an organic pear juice or an organic apple juice and just dilute it like 2-to-1 with water. Serve it on ice. You should be fine. Of course, alcohol. Beer, wine, and spirits has the potential of really tweaking an irritated bladder wall. We did a very long alcohol survey of patients many, many years ago, and I think 95% of patients reported flaring when drinking an alcohol. But there were some workarounds. So for example, when it comes to beer, more patients flared with dark beers and porters, but the very, very pale ales were better. More patients flared with dark, like bourbons. They do better with sake. And patients did better with a low acid wine like a Merlot. But of course, listen, if you're flaring, you shouldn't be touching alcohol at all. You got to save that for when your bladder has a chance to calm down and heal a bit. Again, We recommend 3 to 6 months without doing any of these, just to give your bladder time to catch up. Okay, our next well-known irritant is artificial sugars. Artificial sugars like NutraSweet, no. They are metabolized into very strong irritants. And you might be surprised to learn that the World Health Organization earlier in 2023 recommended that nobody use artificial sugars at all because they're strongly associated with obesity and a few other medical conditions. And so some people say, what about sugar alcohols like erythritol? Well, earlier this year, the Cleveland Clinic released a study where they were able to link sugar alcohols to stroke and the increased blood clots. So we don't recommend any artificial sugars for patients who struggle with interstitial cystitis and or a sensitive bladder. If you need something sweet, go for a nice honey, maybe even a Manuka honey. Actually, we have some research where they have used honey in some bladder installations to try to calm the bladder down. And honey also is a natural antibacterial. So that would be an interesting thing to try instead. And I hate to break it to you, my chocoholics out there, but you know, chocolate is very neurostimulatory. Chocolate is well known to trigger migraines. It's got caffeine in it. It's got irritants in it. My body hates chocolate. If I eat chocolate, I get what I call bend over and scream or cramping. And my body interprets chocolate like poison. So what we know about chocolate is the cheaper the chocolate, the more irritation. So if you're desperate to have some chocolate, go for a really expensive dark chocolate or go for a plain white chocolate instead. Now, my personal favorite is carob. Some of the carob they make today is just fantastic. And you'll find a nice supply of carob products over in the IC Network shop. We've got carob drops, we've got carob powder, we've got carob brownie mix, we've got all sorts of carob candy bars, things that will meet that need for having something sweet without triggering your bladder and your bowel like chocolate could. All right, so those are our most well-known bladder triggers. And if you're looking for more information on the IC diet, come on over to the IC Network website. Take-home summary. Research studies have proven that certain foods can trigger IC flares and pain. Your food sensitivity is determined by your phenotype. Patients with Hunner's lesions, chemocystitis, and estrogen atrophy are often the most food sensitive. You can protect your bladder and give it time to heal by avoiding foods high in acid and alcohol. Would a wound heal if you poured a cup of coffee on it every day? Of course it would not. Please avoid all traditional coffees, regular and decaf, teas, black, green. Try herbal coffee like Dandy Blend or teas like chamomile or peppermint or rooibos instead. Avoid most sodas with the exception of a decaf root beer or an Italian soda, which are naturally lower in acid. Energy drinks are the single worst thing that you could drink. Avoid all cranberry and citrus juices. Try an organic apple or pear juice instead. Avoid all alcohols during flares. Avoid all artificial sweeteners and sugar alcohols. Try honey instead. And yes, chocolate can be irritating. Try the new carob products instead. Suggested products. The IC Chef Cookbook is our best resource with our largest food list and lots of great recipes for you to try. We also have Customizing the IC Diet by Julie Beyer. She was the first dietitian who helped develop our food list many years ago. Diet coaching services are available for patients who are struggling to find foods and drinks that are bladder friendly. You certainly are not alone. You can download our free diet list on the IC Network website, icnetwork.org. Pre-Leaf is an easy, affordable calcium supplement that reduces acid in foods to make them more tolerable. Bella Rosa and Tyler's are low-acid coffees that may be more bladder-friendly for some. They are available in regular half-cap and decaf. Dandy Blend Herbal Tea is our all-time favorite coffee alternative. You can make lattes and frappuccinos with it. Davidson White Hot Chocolate is great for frosty mornings or a day in the snow. You can find more bladder-friendly foods and candy too in the IC Network shop. This video masterclass is made possible by our members. Please consider joining us so you can get our magazine, and of course, you can find the best resources in our shop.